Today I want to take everything I know about creating nice voicings on the guitar, stuff that sounds open and clear regardless of whether or not you're using a lot of distortion, and I want to distill it down into just one rule for creating these nice voicings. We'll take a look at some of my favorite voicings, and my goal with this video is to get you to a point that you'll be able to apply this information on your own without a teacher. That one rule that I mentioned is simply that we should never have more than 2 notes within an octave. Another way to phrase it is that our smallest interval should never be less than a fifth, whether this is on a triad or a 7th chord or anything else with some extended tones. Our smallest interval should never be less than a fifth. This has to do a little bit with the harmonic series, and I feel like that's a whole nother topic for another video. So how do we apply this? Let's take a look at a simple major triad. It's built up out of the root, the major third, and the perfect fifth. Let's take a look at A here. We're going to start on the 5th fret. There was your root, 3rd, 5th. What we're going to do is take the 3rd and we're going to shift it up an octave so that we're effectively expanding the chord here. Some people like to refer to this as a shell voicing or a split voicing if you're an Eric Johnson fan. Jazz musicians will call it a drop voicing, drop 2, drop 3, etc. But essentially what it is just what I said, taking one note and displacing it by an octave. So again, we took the triad. There's the 3rd, we're going to shift it up an octave. So now we've got root, 5th, and the 3rd. Of course we can do this with minor chords. And we can do it with chords that are based off of the root being on the 5th string. There's your major triad and your minor triad. You might notice that this looks like a shell version of a standard movable bar chord if you're someone that subscribes to the Cage theory. This is a movable E shape. With a lot of overdrive, it ends up sounding muddy. It's going to cloud the mix a lot, and it's hard to understand what the sonority is that we're playing, what the actual tonality of that chord is. By breaking it down into less notes and spacing them apart in a smart way, we can get across that tonality, but it's still clear in the mix, and it still retains plenty of the overdrive, that characteristic sound that a lot of styles of music need. Now we can apply this same technique to extended chords. Let's start with the major 7th. Alright, ordinarily we're going to have root, 3rd, 5th, 7th. If we were to play this within one octave, it sounds really dense and unusable. So let's back up to the triad version that we just created. We can skip this step. Here's where the 7th normally lies. Even this voicing is going to sound a little too dense. It's passable, but we can do better. Let's take the 7th and shift it up an octave. So there you go. There's a way to get a major 7th, which is ordinarily a pretty difficult chord to play with a lot of overdrive. We've expanded the 4 notes to be spread out evenly across 2 octaves versus crammed into 1 octave. You can look at each note individually in relation to the next. Our smallest interval is a 5th here and a 5th here. So we have a 5th between the root and the 5th. We have a 6th between the 5th and the 3rd, and then another 5th between the 3rd and the 7th. Now when you want to start adding extensions, what you're going to do is omit either the 5th or the root. I like to omit the root in this case. Normally in jazz you would omit the 5th. But in this case, we should omit the root because the bassist is playing that. If you have a second guitar player, they're probably playing a power chord anyway. So let's take this major 7th chord and we're going to make it into a major 9th chord. We have the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th. We're going to take the 3rd, here's the 7th, here's the 5th, and finally the 9th. There's the root. How you would play it. If this lesson went well for you, you might also be interested in some of the free resources I have made available on my website. I have a huge booklet that I've put together on the Cage theory, some smaller e-booklets that I've made on the 7 modes of the major scale, the 7 modes of the harmonic and melodic minor scale. some 7th arpeggios, some tips for figuring out your own arpeggios, some licks that I've put together in PDF form as well. There's a lot of stuff there. I also give one-on-one lessons if you're interested in that, and you can find information at the same location on my website. Take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you dug this video, please hit the like button so this video will be more likely to be recommended to other people. And consider subscribing to the channel as well. I have a lot of other lesson content that you can check out that you might be interested in, and you'll be notified when I upload new lesson videos just like this one. So take care. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.